Okay, guys, we're gonna do some of the review. That's at the end, the last page in the packet here. So we're gonna review section 3.4. We're gonna start off with the first four problems are rational equations, and then the last six are radical equations. I'm gonna make this video about 20 minutes. So not sure if I'll get done with all 10 because I am going to be doing the checks. So if I don't finish, I'll make sure the answer key is up for you guys. So let's start off with number one. We want to get rid of the fractions here. If you did not watch the older videos for this, you definitely want to stop this video and go back and watch them. This isn't as detailed as a normal lesson would be. It's a little bit quicker. So we have to get rid of the fraction. We have denominators of 4 and 3. That makes an LCD of 12. So we multiply by 12. And even the 2 also gets multiplied by 12. Now, before you multiply and distribute, you want to do some division here to clear out the fractions. You actually want to divide. 12 divided by 4 is 3, so we're going to distribute the 3 here to have 3x plus 12. The second fraction, 12 divided by 3, is 4. So we're actually going to distribute a negative 4. Notice I said negative 4 because you have a minus sign here. So negative 4 times x. And then negative 4 times negative 5 is 20. And then your 2 times 12 on the right gets your 24. Then we want to combine like terms on the left. 3x minus 4x is negative 1x. Also 12 plus 20 is 32. Now we're going to solve this for x and get one answer. We're going to subtract 32 from both sides. So negative x equals negative 8, so that means x is equal to 8. Now we are going to check our solution here on the test. I need to see your checks. If you do them on another sheet of paper, please make sure to also submit that sheet of paper. So first fraction, 8 plus 4 is 12 divided by 4. Minus 8 minus 5 is 3 divided by 3 equals 2. And that checks out okay. So 8 is in fact an answer. Excuse me. Okay, let's go ahead on number 2. We have 3x and 2 and another x. My LCD here is 3 and 2 is 6. And there's just a single x for each of them, so just make your LCD a single x. So LCD is 6x, so everything will multiply by 6x. So here, this will be the first one. 6x times 1 is 6x. And then divided by 3 will be 2x. Your second one times 6x, so that'll be plus 4 times 6 is 24x divided by x will be 24. The x's cancel. Then we're going to have 1 times 6x is 6x, divided by 2 is 3x, and then 3x times 6x is 18x, divided by x, the x's cancel, so plus 18. And now we're going to worry about getting x by itself. The higher number x is on the right, so I'll move this x to the right. It's 2x to the right. And then x has got to be 6. Let's see if it is 6, though. We're going to do the check. So 1/3 plus 4/6 equals 1/2 plus 3/6. Okay, so 4/6 is 2/3. And then that's 3/3, which is 1. And then 1/2 plus 3/6 is also 1/2. 1/2 plus 1/2 is 1. So 6 works out to be okay. All right. The other two, I'll come back to those in a bit if I need to. Now, you know what? I actually do want to do number 4 here. This first one here, you have to carefully look at the denominators. That x squared minus 9 can be factored. So before we worry about an LCD, this can be factored. It's a difference of squares. So we factor it to be x plus 3x minus 3. So now we can say the LCD is x plus 3, x minus 3. Don't repeat them because none of the individual fractions repeat any of your binomials here. So now we got to go, okay, when you're dealing with binomials, we kind of look at it a little bit differently. I take a little bit of a shortcut here and I go, okay, what's that 2 got to multiply by? So here versus here, is anything missing here that appears in here? No, nothing's missing. So that means the 2, the shortcut is the 2 can just drop down. Bring down the plus. Now what's the 5 got to multiply by? What's missing here that appears here? The x plus 3. So that means the 5 is, the shortcut is, the 5 will distribute with x plus 3. So 5 times x, then 5 times 3. And we just kind of cancel off the fraction. And then after the equal sign, what's the 3 multiply by? What's missing? The x minus 3 is missing. So 3 is going to multiply by x minus 3. So that'll be 3x minus 9 after I distribute. So now I'm ready to just go ahead and solve. I have like terms on the left, 2 plus 15, 17. Variables on both sides. Let's subtract 3x, move the x's to the left. Subtract 17 from negative 9. And then divide by 2. So let's see if that, before we circle it, let's check our solution to see if that negative 13 will be our answer. So the first fraction, I'm looking at the x squared minus 9. So that'll be negative 13 squared is 169, then minus 9 is 160. Then plus, and then it'll be 5 over x minus 3. That's negative 13 minus 3 is negative 16. Equals 3 over negative 13 plus 3 is negative 10. All right, so 2 over 160, actually, we can make them into lowest common denominators really easy. We can just go 0 and 0 to make common denominators of 160, so now I can subtract. The reason I say subtract, even though there's a plus sign, look carefully here, this minus sign would actually make this into a subtraction problem. So then it becomes 2 minus 50 is negative 48. Does that reduce to negative 3/10? We can divide by 2. We can divide by 8. And we do have a good check. So that means negative 13 is my answer.
Nope, you did not max out, that's all.
Okay, next up, number 5. When we're solving radical equations, we want to get the radical by itself, which it is. Now that it's by itself, we want to square both sides to get rid of the square roots. So on the left, just bring down 3x minus 4, and then do the 2 squared on the right to get 4. Now we're going to solve for x. We're going to add 4. Then we're going to divide by 3. And we'll get 8/3 as an answer. You could keep it 8/3 or convert it over to 2 2/3. That would be okay as well. The reason I'm keeping it 8/3 is it is actually going to make my check easier when I multiply 8/3 times 3 for that 3x. All right, so let's do our check. So it'll be 3 times 8/3 minus 4. Let's see if it equals 2. So 3 times 8/3, the 3's cancel to be 8 minus 4. That'll be the square root of 4, and which is 2. So the check's good. So it means 8/3 is my answer. If you want to call it, if you prefer to call it 2 2/3, that's okay as well. Okay, let's go over number 6. When you're solving a radical equation, you need the radical by itself. It is not here. This guy's got to move to the right. So we need to add 3. Now we can square both sides. The radical can go away. And then 6 squared will get 36. And we're going to add 6. Just solving for x now. Add 6. And then divide by 6. All right, so let's check if 7 is the answer. So that'll be 6 times 7 is 42. 42 minus 6, square root of 36. Square root of 36 is 6, and 6 minus 3 is 3. So we have another check. That's good. Let's try out number 8. Now this guy, do not raise to the power of 2. The index here is 3. So you need to raise to the power of 3 to get rid of that radical. So 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Be careful there. Don't do 2 times 3 and get 6. It's 2 times 2 times 2. And then obviously subtract 2 to get 6. Now we're going to see if the check works out. Again, on the test, I need to see the checks or else you'll lose points. So cube root of 6 plus 2 is 8. And the cube root of 8 is in fact 2. So the check is good. 6 is good. All right, let's do number 9. We're at the 15-minute mark. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, doing pretty well. Let's hit up a tough one now. Number 9. Now let's isolate that radical. We're gonna add 1 to both sides. To have x plus 1. Remember, these are difficult when there's an x not in the radical. Now that the radical is isolated, we are going to square both sides. However, we have a binomial, 2 terms on the right. So we are going to have to square it, means we're going to have to write it twice and FOIL carefully. FOIL. We're going to have to FOIL and then combine like terms. So first, outer, inner, and last. And then combine like terms here. X plus x is plus 2x. And then usually a lot of my students get stuck here. What do I do from there? Well, look what type of equation it is. It's a quadratic, it has an exponent of 2. Remember what I taught you guys: when you have a quadratic equation, you want to set the equation equal to 0, and then you can either factor or use the quadratic formula. So let's set the left side equal to 0. So subtract x and subtract 3. We'll do it in the same step. It'll be plus 1x minus 2. Now again, if you want to use, I'm pretty good at factoring, so I'm going to factor here, but feel free, if you're more comfortable to use the quadratic formula, you can do that on the test. But I can see right away that this can be factored, just based on my experience. So the c term is a minus, so that means my signs are plus minus. And then my numbers have to be 2 and 1, obviously, because 2 is a prime number. It can only be 2 and 1. We're going to put a plus 2 and a minus 1, because remember, you look at the sign of b, the sign of b goes to the bigger number, which would be 2. So then I would say, okay, I got to get my answers now. So I set them each equal to 0, set each factor equal to 0, and then I solve them. So I think we got -2 as an answer and 1 as an answer. But this, especially problems where we have 2 answers, it is very important we do our checks. So we're going to start checking. I'll start with the -2. So that'll be square root of -2 plus 3 is 1. And then that's 1 minus 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. 0 is not equal to -2. So -2 does not work out. Please go cross it out. We consider that an extraneous solution. Now we need to check 1. So square root of 1 plus 3 is 4. Minus 1 equals 1. Square root of 4 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. So that one does work out to be okay. So we do end up getting 1 answer here. All right. And yeah, I'm going to try to squeeze in this. We're at the 19-minute mark here. I am going to try to squeeze in the most difficult problem, which is when we have 2 radicals. 2 radicals and then another number, especially. So you first start off, you get 1 radical by itself. So we're going to call this 9 minus the square root of x plus 16. So I got that first square root by itself. Then we square. Unfortunately, we're going to have to write it twice and FOIL on the right. Okay, so let me FOIL first, outside, inside, and then last I'm going to be very careful. It's negative times a negative, which is a positive, and then square root of x plus 16 times the square root of x plus 16 is just x plus 16. Remember, you just drop the radical when you have the same square root multiplying by itself. Bring that down. And then now let's combine like terms. 81 plus 16 will be 97. You also can bring down the plus x. You can also add the radicals together. Negative 9 minus 9 is negative 18. All right, what from there? Now, let's work on getting now that we're down to one radical, let's work on getting it by itself. So we are going to first subtract 97 from both sides. We're also going to subtract 8x from both sides in the same step, which we get lucky and it cancels the x on the left also. So this will be negative 90. Now at this point, it's not isolated yet. We got to divide both sides by negative 18. So that'll be 5. And then now, finally, we're down to one radical by itself on the left. Now we can square both sides, get rid of the radical, and 5 squared is 25. And then subtract 16 to have x is 9. But of course, we are going to check this. Luckily, I have another blank page here. So square root of 9 plus 7 is 16, plus square root of 9 plus 16 is 25 equals 9. Square root of 16 is 4, square root of 25 is 5, and 4 plus 5 equals 9. It checks out good. I can now say confidently that 9 is my solution. All right, so I think I did pretty good here. I didn't expect to get that much done. I went a little quick, so feel free to rewind. Actually, I got 8 out of the 10 done. Still not bad. I'll put up the answers for them. But if I went too fast at any point, just rewind. And of course, feel free to ask questions during class or any Zoom meetings. Good luck on the test. Make sure to study.